Author's Notes. As I write this, I'm a stone's throw away from 60. Yeah, I know. I can't believe it either. Well, here's something else you won't believe. During my first 50 years, I knew nothing about my heritage, my family history, my ancestors, nothing. Not even a country of origin. I had nothing. And why, you may ask? Well, it's quite simple, really. My elders never spoke of it. Never spoke of it because they themselves did not know. Somewhere in time, something broke, and all of those old family stories just stopped being passed down from one generation to the next. So when I turned 50, well, that's when it really hit me, because now the shoe was on the other foot. I became haunted by the thought of one of my grandsons asking me about these things, and all I'd have to offer is the same deer-in-the-headlights look my father and his father before him had to offer. So naturally, being the grumpy old veteran that I am, I got to stewing on it, because that always works. While rambling on about it one evening, my wife finally got tired of hearing it, and to be honest, I really can't say that I blame her. So anyway, she rolled her eyes at me, then started flipping through her phone. You know, like she always does when she wants to ignore me. As it turns out, she wasn't ignoring me at all. She was, however, tired of my rambling. So to shut me up, and who could blame her, she put her researching skills to work in search of answers. Something, anything. So while I'm rambling on like an idiot, she's poking around on the web. A few minutes go by before something caught her eye. That's when she straightened herself in her chair, getting my attention. I stopped rambling and watched curiously. She tapped her phone and flipped to a website. With laser focus, she slowly scrolled down the page. Curious, I leaned in closer. Too close, apparently, because that earned me a pair of brown daggers glaring at me over her phone. Needless to say, not good. Retreating, I asked, "So, find anything?" With her daggers now fixed on her phone, all I got was the silent treatment. Knowing better, I didn't push the issue, so I just slid back on my chair. You see, this is how I avoid getting smacked. Anyway, we're silently sitting there when suddenly those inquisitive brown eyes of hers grew wide. I was waiting on bated breath when she threw me a wry grin and handed me the phone, smirking. "I don't know. You tell me." What my dear wife had no way of knowing was she had just handed me the keys to the Corvette, and I was off to the races. Miraculously, she had stumbled onto a cache of historical documents tied to my family, a web of stuff that, frankly, I probably wouldn't have found, at least certainly not as quickly as she did. She's that good. As you might guess, that information led to more information, which ultimately led to even more. Honestly, it was overwhelming. I mean, all I wanted to know was where my family was from and how we came to be in America. But in the end, it all came back to the adage, be careful what you wish for. It was like someone had opened the floodgates. One minute I knew nothing, and the next I was swimming in a sea of enlightenment. All the things I never knew, all the mysteries of who, what, where, why, and when, unfolded before my eyes as I plunged headlong into the rabbit hole. I had to learn more. Incapable of resisting, I kept digging. For weeks, months I dug. Finally, after investigating every lead, it became very clear. What I had found was far more than a campfire story to be shared with my grandsons. So much more. In fact, I would have been remiss had I not at the very least attempted to bring it to life, to fill the gap left by my ancestors through generations of silence, to be able to tell my grandsons that which my grandfather could not tell me. And so it is I endeavored to author this book, not simply to tell my family's story, but also to share a glimpse of what life was like for the ancestors of millions of others whose families, like mine, were American immigrants during the colonial period of the 1700s. This series is a culmination of my research. It chronicles the life and times of my seventh great-grandfather, William Bruce, and I am honored to be sharing it with you on this, the 300th anniversary of his arrival to the American colonies. Happy anniversary, Grandpa. I'm sharing it with you because William Bruce's story is not merely his own. No, his story is our story, because somewhere in time we were all immigrants.